Hey, y'all. Hey, welcome to the PowerWomen Podcast. This is the show where powerful women share their journeys, discuss how to solve powerful issues, and empower men who help us rise. I'm your host, Power Mom, Claire Brown. Today's PowerWomen Podcast is proudly sponsored by Cupids Lingerie, Arkansas's premier lingerie and gift store. Love is in the air, y'all. Cupids has everything you need. Lingerie, and much more. They have 6 central Arkansas locations, and you can shop online. Visit shopcupids.com and make your next date night the best one yet. Cupids, enjoy. Hey, y'all. Hey, so today is our first episode, and we are so excited to have Spencer with us. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
All right.
Because I want to know all the things of Spencer. Who are you? What do you do? And tell us a little bit of how did the journey take you here?
Well, let's see. I'm Spencer Ellman. I live in Little Rock, Arkansas. Lived here all my life. And I've tried a lot of entrepreneurial things, and some of them fit, some of them didn't. And I have just enjoyed being in hospitality. I think that's a really good reason, it helps you be successful in a lot of things in life, especially retail. Because if your objective is to please customers, being in hospitality is the way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So
you started out in hospitality.
Yeah, I was a waiter as soon as I could when I was 21.
Right. And so tell everybody what you do now.
I own Cupids lingerie stores.
Right.
And we've got 8 stores with the 9th coming in Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. Northwest Arkansas is very good to us.
Right. And so what I hear from hospitality is really serving others.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you have to do in life anyway.
Right.
So
in any customer service industry.
Correct.
Right. And so how did you get into Cupids?
Well, 25 years ago, when I was 12, when I started it, not really.
No.
25 years ago, there was only one store in town. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty rank and seedy. And you felt guilty. Right. Almost when you came out. It smelled like smoke. It just didn't have anything going on for it. But everyone needed products. But there was just that store. And I thought, I could do this better.
Right.
And make it a couples friendly, mm-hmm. a light up store, very well lit, pretty, carpeted. Mm-hmm. And there were also some behavioral issues with some of the customers at the store. They thought at that time, every woman that would come in the store was a swinger.
Okay.
But that wasn't the case.
Sure.
So we always maintained an eye on the women on the floor of the store and had the outside store monitored with either security or security cameras so we could watch people in case they approached the woman inappropriately.
Right. So I think you hit on something that is so key. Because for those who don't know, Cupids is a lingerie and...
We also have adult novelties.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so many associate guilt and shame along with that, which really holds us back from our own sexuality.
It does.
Right. And until we choose... It has, yes. And until we choose to break through that, we don't get to experience our full self.
Correct.
Right. And I only know this from my own journey as well, right?
There you go.
Yeah. And in fact, recently, some friends of mine went and visited a Cupids.
Good.
Yeah. And so I had never been to a store of that nature myself until a girlfriend took me 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I was in my late 30s.
Wow.
I know, right.
Do you recall which store it was?
It was the North Little Rock store.
Okay, good. Mm-hmm. My sister manages that.
And I even write about it, the experience in my book.
Good.
But it was so eye-opening. But then the empowerment that one feels by being able to, if you will, self-serve, mm-hmm. Is huge.
It is. It really is. It's liberating. Because
it's very liberating.
I would say for the first 10 years, no one ever bought anything for themselves.
Right.
They were buying a gag gift for their brother's wedding or bachelor party.
Right.
So, it was really hard. Mm-hmm. Plus, manufacturers weren't really listening to their customers and mm-hmm. what women especially wanted. That's mm-hmm. why it took so long to get latex products removed. Because a lot of women have allergies to latex.
Right.
So now they listen, and they've really listened now. And I'm actually jealous because all the products for women are amazing.
Well, I think it also goes, it makes so much sense because it also goes along with the national conversation that we've had with women empowerment,
Exactly.
that women finally started having a voice, and then it started to be heard.
Exactly.
Right. So this also plays into a huge conversation that I think needs to be had about sexuality with women that we need to start having with our daughters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to have it personally. I don't think we need to have it in kindergarten.
No.
But I think we need to be a role model
Yes.
from birth.
Yeah.
But, when it's appropriate timing, and women should do that.
Because the questions that come to my mind are, what if we empowered our daughters to learn about their sexuality, their bodies, and all of those things earlier? So what would that do to their dating lives in college or even in high school? Would they seek exterior validation or experiences from a partner if they knew all of themselves?
That was one of the most amazing things that I found out. We really educate people, and people seem to be ignorant of their own body parts, especially in the South.
Yeah, I totally was. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's just amazing to see the progression and seeing people come out, as you say,
Right.
and knowing what they need for certain areas. But we educate the customer. They really don't know a lot. I mean, you're a prime example.
Right. I mean, I've been single now almost 7 years. Had my first vibrator 4 years ago. And it's like, oh my God, I may be single forever. This is a bottle of wine and this, and it's like
There you
date
go.
night.
There
This
you
is
go.
fabulous. And so, but then raising a teenage girl, that to explain that there's such I think we confuse sexuality and orientation.
Correct.
And we use those interchangeably, and we shouldn't.
And they're not. Right.
Right. And so to empower them through conversation, that sexuality is the what, the when, the how, the where. And orientation is the who. And so before you ever bring a who, you need to know the what, the when, the how, the where that you enjoy.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so what would it look like if we empowered our young women and exposed them to all that without the guilt and the shame? This is who you are, and it's wonderful.
It is.
And let me help you experience that in a great way.
And we can do that.
Yes, exactly.
I grew up in a single female household, and my mother was amazing. She would never come home in a bad mood, no matter what happened. She'd walk in that door and smile and ask us how our day was.
Right.
So she empowered us as far as life is concerned.
Right.
And I didn't ask too many questions about other things because I had an older brother. So, but I know my sister, and she had numerous conversations.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've really tried to be diligent to open the conversations with my children, age appropriate, of course.
Of course.
To make sure that conversation is fluid and they feel open to that. And I think.
And not ashamed to talk about things.
No, because what does that do to them in their programming as adults?
Right.
And how will that affect all their other relationships?
It can stunt that particular type of growth.
Yes, then it'll bleed over into so many other areas.
Exactly. Career-wise, everything.
Everything. I mean, they could own another Cupids. And
hopefully not.
No, but yes. Right. But they could. They could do so many other things, and we limit them if we project guilt and shame onto them when it's not necessary.
Exactly.
Experience, explore, but most importantly, enjoy. Visit any of our 8 convenient Arkansas locations today. Cupids. Enjoy.
So what I love the most, I think, is there's so many opportunities for the client. And every store is very specific, engaged.
Correct.
To that specific clientele.
And every store is different. Like Southwest Little Rock is a different store from Rodney Parham.
Sure.
Or the Bentonville store, which is huge. And I'll say this, the people that shop there are the most adventurous of all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right. And for those who don't know, that demographic is very affluent.
Very.
And very well educated. So it's fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
one of the most fun things I've learned is seeing the difference in customers.
Right. And then the online option, I think is so key.
It is.
Yeah. For those that still, like my grandmother, not wanting to go to the liquor store and be seen, it's still the same premise. They still have that opportunity to do and explore or to empower themselves or their children or whatever at their own comfort level.
Like, for instance, at the JFK store, it's a standalone store.
Yes.
So for quite a while, that parking lot was not full during the day.
Right.
And people would wait till night and probably park in the store next door. But now it's totally different. People are comfortable, and it's great.
Right. And I think that just comes from, like we're doing, opening up the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so where do you see this heading in the future?
Well, you can take that several ways. VR and AR they're talked about a lot, so maybe there'll be some shopping that way. I just, for myself, I'm about to franchise.
Okay.
So that's going to be a good opportunity for me and for the people that purchase it, because I've pretty much been recession proof, and it's been a good business.
Right. Well, while people are at home,
right,
there's one thing they're going to do.
That is correct.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same thing when the lights go out. Yeah. I know, right? And we have baby booms. And so that's fascinating. And then what is it that you wish that people knew that they tend to make up a story about that's not necessarily accurate?
Well, there are still some people that buy gag gifts.
Sure.
And I'll tell you one quick story. A man came in and bought, this is 15 years ago, and I'd heard every story in the world. And a man came in and said, I need a doll for my magic act, a blow-up doll.
Right.
And I just laughed, and I said, dude, that's the first time I've heard this. You can have this doll. So it's just nice to watch the progression. Now people come in and ask for something specific for a body part, and that did not happen. Right.
And then there have to be, I'm sure, provisions in place to look out for those that are not there for the right reasons.
Well, as far as our customers go, if they aren't there for the right reasons, I always tell each clerk, and we've got male, female, every kind of clerk, and I say, it's your call. If you're not comfortable with that person walking in the door, you can just say, we're closing for cleaning. Sorry, we'll be open in 20 minutes.
Right.
But if they get a vibe from that person that's wrong, I empower them to do that.
Sure.
So,
absolutely.
Especially the females.
Yeah, for sure. Today's PowerWomen podcast is proudly sponsored by Cupids Lingerie, Arkansas's premier lingerie and gift store. Love is in the air, y'all. Cupids has everything you need, lingerie and much more. They have 6 central Arkansas locations, and you can shop online. Visit shopcupids.com and make your next date night the best one yet. Cupids, enjoy. What is it that really made you want to go into this the most?
Well, initially I just thought I could just build a better mousetrap and make people feel more comfortable and not be smelly, and just, you could hang your head up high when you left and not be ashamed. That's really what it was. Yeah. And it turned out I was a vanguard. It turned out to be a national trend like 10 years later, but I felt pretty good starting it.
And I think that's the biggest thing. We've seen such a transition in this space. Yes. We really have. I mean, we no longer have the magazines that we used to have that we grew up with that were taboo. Yeah. I'm a real estate agent, so I still go in houses and still see stacks of those every now and then. But I think reframing it is such key.
It is.
Yeah,
it really
to
is.
Everything.
And packaging and materials and functions are just amazing now. Yeah. It's just amazing. There may be, when I first started, there were maybe 8 manufacturers, and I could go out to the floor and I could order like this. Okay, I see we need 5 of those. It was real easy.
Right.
And now everything's automated, of course, but the choice of products is just fantastic.
Well, and there's so much more other than, accessories, if you will. There are things that people can utilize for their relationships. And I think we forget about that.
We do, and I've had certain people that have been in the news or on the news that have come in and hugged us and said, you saved our marriage. I mean, these were 90, 80-year-old people.
Right.
So.
And what I'm referencing are things that you can read, activities you can do together that are not necessarily of the sexual nature.
Exactly.
They're truly about the relationship, because intimacy doesn't mean sex.
Exactly. That's very well put.
Well, it's true, and I think we
tend to forget that.
Yeah, we do. And just try being single 7 years, you won't forget it. I think there's so much good, and we tend to put a negative connotation with so many things. Again, based on our programming, how we were raised.
Correct.
The Bible Belt is infamous for giving us the guilt and the shame around this space.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it really is up to us. And how we choose to redo that for our own children.
I remember in the 60s, my mom went out to San Francisco, and she was a 60s gal.
Yeah.
And she came back with all these wonderful dresses, and it was great. It was great.
Right.
And we were always the weird family because we didn't have a daddy.
Okay.
And all the other kids in my neighborhood, all of the girls ended up getting pregnant and having... Never in our family. We were the weird family that stayed normal.
Right. Well, I mean, but that's to the point of, what would happen if we empowered our girls to own their own bodies.
Exactly.
Instead of seeking it elsewhere. What would that do to teen pregnancy? What would that do to STI rates? I mean, so many things. What would that do to the emotional maturity and stability of our youth?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And mental age is different than physical age.
Right.
So we have to be aware of that as well.
Right. And I just don't know, and I don't think that our parents are opening that conversation. They're more fearful of it than their children.
They are.
Yeah. I told my daughter, she wanted to open the conversation with me about orientation and sexuality, and we had that conversation. And I told her, I said, listen, you're not graduating high school without a vibrator. And her eyes became as big as silver dollars. I said, I think you forgot who your mother was.
There you go.
And so after that, she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. So she's more fearful of it than I am.
That's interesting.
It is. And so it's just like, I think she's scared of what I'm going to say.
I have a feeling you're going to be able to express it well.
Yeah, it's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our children will feel our fear at every age.
They do.
And just when you hold an infant, they become upset when you're tense. It's the same thing. And so if you fear the conversation, well, then your child's going to express that as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
And it can be fearful.
Oh, huge. I mean, if you're not comfortable in the space, then absolutely it is scary. It's just like public speaking. If you're not used to it,
it's not going to happen.
Right, yeah. So as a mother, I can't thank you enough.
Well, that's a compliment.
Well,
thank you as well.
Because, I mean, without this, though, I wouldn't know myself. And then, therefore, I wouldn't be able to empower my daughter. And then I wouldn't be able to help mentor other women and their children as well. Without this.
See, that's something that I didn't see as an ancillary effect.
Right.
But it is. It clearly is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If everyone was as open as you, but we're working on that.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, you are, everyone is.
It's a process.
It's a process.
So thank you so much.
Experience, explore, but most importantly, enjoy. Visit any of our 8 convenient Arkansas locations today. Cupids. Enjoy.
I wrote a book. And it's very apropos to some of the things that we've discussed. Ring or flame.
I like the premise. I did study psychology, consumer psychology as well. So
you did.
I know what this is.
That's fascinating because I studied consumerism in college.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, and now I study a lot of psychology.
Well, I would like to say cheers to you
Thank you so much.
Doing so well and writing a book that I think is going to change people's lives.
Thank you. During the writing of it, it was, if this only help one person, then it's worth every bit of it.
That's what I told my friend. I said, if she could tell her story, and I'm going to try to talk to her for you to interview her. If she could change, if she could go, one of my, things is, women's shelters. Because when I was a waiter at 21 years old, there was a girl there that had been abused and married. And I said, well, why didn't you just leave?
Right.
Well, this is a long time ago. And no one knew about the psychological damage that a man can do to a woman to make them stay while hurting them, abusing them, and all that. And that awakened me at even more so than I thought I was.
Right.
And I've always been very tenderhearted toward those shelters and like to give, well, some of those kids come in there without anything. So I try to take care of them with Christmas presents and things like that.
Yeah. So it's interesting you mentioned that. You know, I don't know how much you are aware. So this all started very organically, every bit of it. The PowerWomen platform started because of my need for strong women connection with just me and 5 other friends. And I said, listen, I need a lot of help. And I need help with carpool and mom night outs. And I have a lot of questions about my vagina. And they're like, oh, so do I. And so I said, nobody wants a group text. So I'm just going to put us in a private Facebook group. They're like, okay, that's fine. I said, we're going to have a mom night out. And you can check it. I don't care. Show up, whatever. But this is what I've got to do. So we had a mom night out that weekend, and we all got kicked out. It was kind of like Bad Moms, and it was fabulous.
That's the best way to go.
It was amazing. I was like, I have found my people. And then they told all their people, and then their people. And then before I knew it, in less than 3 weeks, there were over 1,500. And it just went viral from there.
Well, that is very interesting because we're about to start a thing called Women's Night Out.
Okay.
And it's going to teach women. It's going to be a fun event, and it's going to have, we'll have speakers like you or other people, and we're going to teach women about their body parts and we'll do it in a fun way.
Sure.
A couple years ago, we had some nurses that treat only dying children, and I'm telling you, I was crying by the time it was over. They were too, and they laughed, had such a good time. And it was the most rewarding time I'd ever had in one of my stores.
Yeah.
So you're going to give me the impetus to do this.
Yeah, great.
Because I'm busy, but I can follow up on a few things.
Yeah, we can make time for what we want to make time for.
And I think this would be great fit for you as well.
I would love that. So in the group, you know, people have the ability to post anonymously now, but then inevitably I have at least a woman a week that will post either anonymously or message me asking for help or resources, how to get out of an abusive situation. And so I've now learned about everything in our community to allow that and help that happen. And so women...
I'd like to help you help that happen as well.
I would love that. And so I don't think I knew or recognized the need for that until all this started. And I certainly didn't anticipate it to do what it's done or to be able to serve so many. And so you mentioning that is huge.
Well, it's something, it's a passion for me just because of that one experience.
Right. Well, and I think, people they want to help others so much. We have more 501c3s per capita here in Little Rock than anywhere else in the country.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we are a community of givers, which I love.
I love that too.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And so I love the fact that by going and shopping at Cupids, I'm not only helping myself, I'm helping my potential partner, but then I'm also helping other women in my community.
You are.
Yeah. And I think that just warms my heart.
I'm going to have to salute you on that one.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Best ever. Why not buy a vibrator today for that reason? So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review on iTunes. And check out our website, thepowerwomen.org.